A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta, and tonight we are bringing you highlights from our recently concluded Delhi Springboard. Now, Delhi is recognized as India's startup capital. Startups in diverse sectors have grown rapidly in the past few years. Delhi now leads the IPO race as well as far as startups are concerned. Tonight, as part of the panel discussion, we'll be discussing factors that reflect how the city of Delhi continues to position itself as India's startup capital. Joining me in the panel discussion are Vivek Gambhir, venture partner Lightspeed India, Apeksha Jain, founder and CEO the Gourmet, and Deepak Gupta, co-founder and COO Bombay Shaving Company. So Apeksha, Vivek, Deepak, thank you so much for joining us today. To really kickstart this evening, as part of your opening remarks, I would like to know, taking cue from your professional experiences, tell us Delhi's economic journey from your perspective. How has that impacted your professional experiences and how Delhi has really evolved to have an identity of being India's startup capital? Vivek, let's start with you.
Thank you very much, Ritwika, for having us here. I moved back to India in 2005 after almost 20 years in the US, and I was fortunate enough to be part of the founding team of Bain & Company in India. We decided to actually start in Delhi, which at that time people were actually wondering, because the entire consulting market was very Mumbai-centric. And in hindsight, it turned out to be one of the most brilliant decisions we made. What we found in Delhi was access to a completely different new talent pool. A lot of clients were actually underserved in this area. And before anybody realized, India became one of the fastest scale-ups in Bain's history. So we saw the benefits of Delhi, and so over the last, 19 years since moving back to India, Delhi has been home, and we have been quite impressed. There are obviously niggling infrastructure issues which we can discuss, but in terms of vitality, in terms of growth potential, I think Delhi has done very well, and the promise is even more exciting going forward.
Wonderful. Apeksha?
I think having a food business, Delhi is the perfect place, because it's the food capital of the country, I feel. And people here are very open to experimentation and they love good food, right? So it's a great place to experiment with the, innovative food and to try out your products with a great audience. It's a, great testing ground for food brands and consumer brands in general, I feel. And I think Delhi traditionally has always been like a business center, right, for India. It's not like a place where people think that they're going to come and look for a job. It's like the place where people come to do dhanda, right? It's like the business. It's traditionally known for business, right? And I think that gives it a big advantage.
Absolutely. Deepak, over to you.
I think reasons are, like Vivek and Apeksha mentioned, one is just infrastructure is brilliant. While it's all relative, when we look at other global cities, we still feel that there's a long way to go. But compared to other metro cities in the country, Delhi has phenomenal infrastructure, and just the pace of growth has been mind-boggling. Second is the talent access is great. It becomes the talent pipeline for kind of the startups in the Delhi NCR.
Vivek, coming to you now, when we talk about the IPOs, the IPO boom is like synonymous with startup success. So IPOs, unicorn status, valuation. I want to understand from you, to what extent do these indicators, really prove that, okay, this is a robust startup ecosystem, especially in the context of Delhi?
In some ways, I think the entire listing process in going through an IPO is an important validation, adds credibility, and these make very good headlines as well, right?
True.
And that's quite important to attract investor interest. But let's not forget that I think IPOs are probably much more of a vanity metric. Being more profitable in the long term is much more of what I call a sanity metric.
I'm glad you actually said that.
And having a sustainable performance, over a long time, that's the reality. So I think these are important markers to actually indicate that you are on the right track. People start gaining more confidence. But I wouldn't read too much into those. Ultimately, true success happens over 10, 20 years when companies can truly show both growth and profitability. But it's an important metric nevertheless.
Right. Deepak, coming to you now, your co-founder, Shantanu, made a statement that Delhi is 1,000% better than Bangalore as far as, entrepreneurs are concerned to start up here. So I want to ask you, say for an entrepreneur who is just about looking to start up here in the city of Delhi, what are the resources available? Whose doors can they knock at? Where do they start? Where do they begin?
I think if someone want to start in Delhi NCR, I think good thing is that there are a lot of and I think that's one thing Delhi should actually develop even more is a lot of incubation centers. There are I think it's coming along in Noida, Gurgaon, parts of Delhi. First suggestion is to actually find the right incubation place where you're not worried about just the basic infrastructure required to, you have like-minded people and kind of your basic infrastructure needs are sorted. Second is, I think, get the right mentor, very important. I think Delhi has now enough of that. Bombay Shaving Company was funded by, the initial funding was from 26 McKinsey partners, right? So, and there are people who are willing to support that ecosystem and give you that first boost.
Right. Picking up from what you said, since you spoke about funding, Apeksha, you managed to raise capital back in 2016 at a time when the funding climate wasn't that great in the country, right? So tell us your experience and what would your advice be to entrepreneurs who are looking to raise capital from, say, somebody like Vivek who's sitting next to you?
I would suggest, like, my advice to entrepreneurs would be to have your objectives clear in the beginning, because I think with a lot of capital too early, you kind of get distracted and also go down the wrong path. It's happened with a lot of founders, and it kind of blurs your vision a little bit. So I think it's very important to go without capital for as long as you can, I feel, until, you really have product market fit, until you know that, you have potential in your brand. And then once things are, more sustainable, then probably look at raising capital to scale up.
Right. Vivek, coming to you from an investor's lens, how attractive does Delhi look to an investor, not just from India, for global investors as well? What is the investment climate like right now for startups here in Delhi?
Yeah. See, the fundamentals of Delhi are very strong. So the per capita GDP is about 2.5 times the Indian average. Delhi historically has done much better in terms of attracting investments for e-commerce and consumer services businesses, and also leveraging the manufacturing and trading hubs, which I think Apeksha was talking about. Over the last 10 years or so, there have been roughly about 4,000 startups funded, which are Bangalore-based. I think Delhi's about little over 3,000. So the numbers are probably a little bit lower than Bangalore, but I think Delhi's also fast catching up here.
But Vivek, just staying with you, you definitely interact with a lot of entrepreneurs who come and meet you. What's the sense are you getting from them? Like, are they driven by innovation and vision at the same time, especially the ones who are based out of Delhi? What's the sense are you getting?
Generally, a lot of, startups in Delhi are the ones which are much more consumer focused. And again, as Deepak was mentioning, Delhi or North India as a market is actually very large. So if you truly want to scale up businesses very quickly, I think Delhi becomes a very important ground here. Where I think a lot of entrepreneurs find challenges, I think both Deepak and Apeksha mentioned about the advantages of Gurgaon, Noida, and Delhi. The problem is that it gets fairly fragmented. So I do feel like this is perhaps a time for us to reimagine what the ecosystem could look like to make it far more entrepreneurial friendly than it's ever been before.
Fantastic. Apeksha, coming to you, since both Deepak and Vivek spoke about, and including you as well, about Delhi's geographic advantage in a way, it is close to Noida, Gurugram. I want to know how has that perhaps, impacted your business, and how do you think Delhi's infrastructure in totality, like especially for startups, that deal heavily in supply chain management, like how has that really benefited you?
I think for us, Delhi is a great location to be in because being in the food business, right? So the North India is the food belt of the country, really, and most of my ingredients are sourced from around Delhi, not just Delhi, but of course, like whether it's Uttarakhand or whether it's UP or Rajasthan, Punjab, right? These are the four main hubs where you get a lot of ingredients, and majority of our fruits and vegetables come from this region. So I think for us, managing our supply chain is definitely a lot more easier being in this region than if it was, say, Bangalore or Bombay, right? So, we do have some ingredients that do come from Maharashtra and the south of India as well, but majority of them are sourced from around Delhi. And also we have a lot of traders, right, in Delhi. So my, glass jars, a lot of things that come from traders are from old Delhi, a lot of packaging material. We have a lot of those, the traders hub as well in Delhi.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. Tonight we are bringing you highlights from our part 2 of our Delhi Springboard. In this panel discussion, we are exploring the factors that have led to Delhi's rise as India's startup capital. Listen in. Deepak, coming to you, there's also an influx of tech talent that's coming into the city, right? What is your assessment of the kind of talent that is available here in Delhi? Like when you're meeting perhaps younger entrepreneurs or people who just want to start up on their own, do you think there is a lot of focus on tech-led startups today, or is it consumer focused, like what Vivek was mentioning?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of consumer-focused startups have kind of started out of Delhi NCR, but if you look at Zomato, which is food tech, or even now Blue Smart, which is EV mobility, I think there's a lot of work also happening around the tech. Good thing about, again, I think this entire Delhi NCR plus 4-5 states is that the entire penetration of engineering colleges is pretty good. I think that the gap lies in enhancing the skills which can be kind of applied to businesses after kind of maybe 6 to 1 year of training is where I think the work need to happen. But I think I don't see any challenge in the tech talent per se.
Bringing you in the conversation, Vivek, compared to Mumbai and Bangalore, Delhi is, where the government is. Do you think this has been an advantage, the proximity to the government because of maybe B2G businesses? Has that been an advantage in your edge, and to what extent?
Proximity to government clearly helped, particularly I think in sectors which have been going through lots of regulation. Deepak talked about fintech, so particularly financial services, other sectors where interactions with government officials is quite important, and particularly in the B2G kind of a space, I think proximity to the central government helps. But today also I'm finding enough state governments to be so forward-looking. And every state government, whether it's Karnataka or Gujarat or Telangana or Maharashtra, they're all quoting investors very seriously.
What needs to be done to actually empower entrepreneurs here? Like, I want to open this up to everybody in terms of support from the government, from the policymakers. Apeksha, maybe you could go first. What, according to you, will probably help boost the startup ecosystem further?
I think with respect to the government initiatives, there are lots of them out there. Yeah. But I think what is lacking is like the information. A lot of people, when we start up, we don't have the information that we need to actually have access to the government and the initiatives that the government takes. So I think there needs to be a lot more transparency, and I don't know, maybe like a system where, because most of the government websites are very, very confusing. Like whenever you go onto any of them, it's
and they
like,
never open.
You just get so discouraged after a few minutes on them. So I think we need definitely better websites which are more user-friendly and where you can access information in a much easier way and simpler way, probably, so that you actually know what is out there.
Deepak, what's your take on this?
No, completely agree with Apeksha. One is, I think government is trying hard, and we have been kind of looking at different forums. Government is inviting startup founders to kind of draft policies, talk about it. But I think this the practical application is a long way to improve on. I think again there are like some benefits in terms of SME, MSMEs in terms of income tax benefits, just kind of incentivization, easy loan facility, but just the knowledge and access is a limited availability to a lot of founders. Once you start and by the time your tenure has passed, you realize that you would have availed that. That's the second piece. And third is, again, I think just the centralization of talent pool.
Absolutely. Vivek, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I think, Apeksha and Deepak have really laid out some very concrete, suggestions. I'll just mention 2 points. One is, I think Startup India is doing a phenomenal job in terms of disseminating best practices, benchmarking states that provides some great data in terms of, how to figure out how to build the ecosystem. I think a lot of people from outside Delhi are increasingly getting put off, particularly in the months from November through February. With this kind of pollution reaching such dangerously hazardous levels, very difficult to attract talent from outside Delhi unless we actually, put our heads together and try and address the pollution problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Apeksha, coming to you, you set up your business about 10 years ago, if I'm right. If you were to start your business in 2025, what would you do differently? And I'm coming from the point of view is that right now, today, we have so many women-led startups as well. There's Mama, there's MobiQuick, there's so many of them, right? Especially from Delhi. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, now if you ask me, I would do a lot of things very differently, obviously with all the, knowledge that I have at the moment. But at the same time, I feel like, the way it happened was also very good because I learned everything on the job literally and, by experience, experience is the best teacher, right? But to answer your question, if I was to set up right now, I think I would focus a lot more on making business plans in advance and have the path to profitability, from the beginning.
Deepak, coming to you, tell me, what do you think are some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make that we don't really widely talk about them, but they should know perhaps?
Sometimes we get so passionate about the product or idea we are building on that actually we kind of don't want to reject if something is not working, and we continue to want working on. I think what it does is it kind of the people kind of or the army you are building with that passion sometimes get disoriented with your vision, and that can lead to a lot of burnout and fallout early on. And second is you yourself kind of start questioning that whether I'm doing the right thing, right? So I think soul in the game is important, but founders should be open to continue to to kind of improvise on their initial vision. If you're able to get like-minded people and also kind of make them partner in your journey, which is give them enough skin in the game, I think you will see that kind of success multiplies because a soul warrior can go a certain distance, while if you are able to build a Hydra-headed figure, you can actually run much faster. So
you mentioned about building an ecosystem, Vivek, which we also spoke about. I think there needs to be a lot more networking, mentorship, and really meeting people out there. And I think I would also like to ask the same question which I asked Deepak in terms of some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs today, perhaps not mistakes, but things they probably overlook, when they are setting up. Because you've been meeting a lot of them. What in your opinion are some of those? I would say misconceptions as well, if they have about the startup ecosystem here?
I think the challenges vary by what stage the company is in. In the beginning, I think a lot of founders don't get product market fit right, and they cannot figure out unit economics. The second big mistake is not to have enough fuel in the tank, and many of them start running out of gas, so to speak. The third is that it's actually a brutal, long journey to build a successful startup, right? Typically, if you look at the D2C space, it takes almost about 8 years for a company to reach almost 100 crores. Sure. So people sometimes get very seduced by this get rich quick kind of an approach. But these are extremely long journeys. And the other mistake I think founders make is not knowing when to bring the right team in. And sometimes some of them step away too quickly.
Absolutely. And as we are wrapping up this discussion, we spoke about opportunities, some of the challenges, what is the future, what lies ahead. So as part of your closing remarks, I would like to ask a common question again in terms of, while Delhi is leading in the startup IPO game, it is still lagging behind when it comes to the number of startups compared to Bangalore and Mumbai. And one can say it's a quality versus quantity debate as well. But where do you think we are going with this? What do you think is the future of Delhi's startup ecosystem? Let's start with you, Apeksha.
I think Delhi is becoming a hub for startups for sure, and it's the growth rate is much faster now than it used to be, and who knows, maybe it'll soon overtake other cities. And I feel that the location that Delhi has, which is a very central location, and there are people. I mean, today everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Especially Gen Z, right? If you look at them, especially with Shark Tank and like the amount of media that is there about startups and founders, everybody wants to work for themselves. So I think lots and lots of people from around Delhi, right, from different states are kind of gravitating towards Delhi as the hub for startups and, starting their ventures here.
Wonderful. Vivek?
Potential is great. I think the progress so far has been very good, but we can't rest on our laurels. I think we can't take success for granted. It's really important for us to raise the bar, have a sensible startup policy in place, and also try and address pollution.
Yes, absolutely. Deepak, over to you.
No, I completely echo, I think, what Apeksha and Vivek mentioned. I think, I've lived in China for some time. I think just the infrastructure bridge gap like anything else. New business opportunities emerge when infrastructure is created. I think Delhi is clearly taking a lead on that, which is great. So I think just the mindset of growth is there. Second is at Delhi has been always the big trading centers historically, right? So the ability to take risk is high. And third is, I think just because of multiple reasons being a political center, I think resilience is also great.
Absolutely. Well, Deepak, Vivek, Apeksha, thank you so much for your time. This was such a fruitful discussion. It was a pleasure having you on ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. With that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.